Every fall near where we live, there is a carnival. And at this fall carnival, there are all the usual suspects. You know, the carnival games, vendors, pumpkins, hay, and two of my favorite things, food trucks and antique cars. For clarity, when I say antique cars, I'm talking about old school rides, the classics, not your 2000 Honda. I'm talking about a Ford Model T, the 67 Chevy Corvette, an old school Oldsmobile Cutlass. What you know about that? I love looking at how they look brand new, but many of them are older than me. Much older, in fact. My husband and I will often even point them out to each other when we see them, and I'm always fascinated with how good they look once they've been restored. It makes me think about the process needed in order to take something that was once seen as old, lackluster, damaged, and with little to no value, and through the tedious process of the right hands giving tender care, can be made new. And that makes me think about us and our relationship with the shepherd. How we enjoy the promise of green pastures, quiet waters, and restoration, but don't prefer the process. Can we talk about it? Hey y'all, I'm Seneca, and this is Exhaled Hope, where we have real conversations about faith in the middle of the mess. No hype, no guilt, no pretending we have it all together. Just truth that leaves us with real hope. So if you hung out with us last week, you know we're talking about Psalm 23. And today, I want to hang out with verses 2 and 3. Psalm 23, 2 and 3 says, "He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet water. He restores my soul. He guides me along the right paths for his name's sake." Green pastures, quiet waters, restoration, guided paths. This sounds like everything we want. So why does the path there feel so hard? The process of restoring a classic car has many steps. There's disassembly, there's body work and rust repair. Then you probably have a mechanical overhaul, painting so that it looks good again, and then you have to put it all back together in the reassembly. At the car show, what I've noticed is the owner normally sits or stands nearby with some pride in his masterpiece. But what they don't tell you is the condition of the car prior to the restoration. They don't detail having to take it completely apart before they can put it back together again. How you have to expose every rusted panel, every broken part, every piece that stopped working the way it was supposed to before the restoration can actually begin. And I think that's where a lot of us get uncomfortable with God, our shepherd, because we want the restored version. We want to roll up to the car show looking shiny and new, but we're not always ready for the disassembly. We're not always ready for him to get into the places we've been hiding, the rust, the damage, the parts of us we've been trying to hold together with duct tape and a good prayer. But here's the good news. The shepherd isn't a broke-down, part-time, shade-tree novice mechanic. He doesn't take us apart and leave us in pieces. He takes us apart because he knows exactly how to put us back together. Check out verse 2 again. He says, "He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters." The shepherd doesn't just point the sheep in the direction of food and water and say, "Good luck, homies." No, he leads them there, and he provides what they need: rest, nourishment, peace. See, green pastures are representative of life, growth, and provision. The sheep, they're not scrambling for survival. They are lying down, taking a nap. That's a posture of rest, of trust, of having exactly what you need. And then there are quiet waters, not rushing, crashing, or overwhelming waves. These waters, they're quiet because sheep actually can't drink from rushing water. A strong current can pull them under. So the shepherd, who is all-knowing, leads them somewhere safe to drink. Ain't that just like God? He doesn't just know what we need. He knows how we need to receive it. He meets us where we can actually absorb it. There are probably a lot of us walking around with Stanley cups who are spiritually dehydrated because we keep running toward the rushing water, the noise, the hustle, the chaos of whatever is culturally relevant, and wondering, why are we still thirsty? The shepherd is trying to lead us somewhere quiet. But the question is, are we going to follow him there? The other thing that catches my attention that I've always found interesting is that he makes me lie down, but he leads me to quiet waters. Y'all, let's just be real. Sometimes we don't just refuse to rest. We're like toddlers who fight nap time. But a good shepherd knows how to get you to take a nap. And even though we may not want to take a nap, we think we know what we need, so we'll try and go and figure out our own water, even if it is gushing out of the fire hydrant. Even with all of that, he still leads us. And there is something that I love buried in the word leads. It means that there was a moment where we were headed somewhere else. Because sheep don't lead themselves to anywhere good. Left to their own devices, they wander, they get stuck, they fall. Sounds like some of us. I won't even put it on you. It sounds like me. But before the shepherd steps in, we are wandering. And some of us have been wandering for a long time through relationships that weren't good for us, through decisions we knew better than to make, through seasons where we just could not find our footing. But he leads. Present tense, active, ongoing. He doesn't just rescue you once and then leave you to figure out the rest. This leading is continuous. He is always moving, always guiding, always one step ahead saying, hey, go this way. We just got to follow, y'all. Verse 3 says, he restores my soul. Now, the word restore in Hebrew is shub, and it literally means to turn back, to return, to bring back to where something was supposed to be. And I think that's important to understand because restoration isn't just repair, it's return. It's the shepherd bringing us back to who we were created to be before the damage, before the wandering, before life happened to us. That classic car at the car show, the goal of a real restoration isn't to make it into something it was never meant to be. It's to bring it back to its original glory, something even better than it was before. Every detail intentional, every part working the way it was designed to. That's what God is doing in you. Not a renovation into something unrecognizable. A restoration back to purpose, back to identity, back to the life he always intended for you. Here's the part you may not want to hear. Restoration takes time. It takes submission. There are parts of the process that are uncomfortable. You might have to sit still longer than you want to. You might have to let him work on the parts you'd rather keep hidden. But the shepherd is not careless with you. He is not in a hurry to get it done cheaply or on the low. He is thorough. and he is tender, and he does not quit until the work is complete. And then here's the greatest part. When we get to the end of verse 3, David gives us the why. For his name's sake. Not for our comfort zone. Not just so we feel better or that we have something interesting to post on our social media. The restoration of your life is a testimony. When people see what God has done in you, when they see someone who was broken, wandering, depleted, and now you're restored, you're peaceful, you're being led, they don't see you, honey. They see the shepherd. You are the car at the car show. And everybody who walks by and says, how did that happen? That's an opportunity to point to the one whose hands did the work. So, wherever you are today, maybe you're in the disassembly phase and it feels like everything is falling apart. Maybe you're in the bodywork phase and it's taking a little longer than you expected. Maybe you're somewhere in the middle, wondering if you'll ever look the way you're supposed to look. I just want to encourage you to trust the shepherd. Follow the shepherd. Even when you're mid-disassembly and you can't see what he's building yet, he knows what he's doing with you. He has led. He does provide. He will restore. Not because you earned it, but because that's who he is. That's the promise of Psalm 23. Hey, y'all. Thanks for being here for season 2 and for our Psalm 23 series. If this episode encouraged you, share it with someone who needs a reminder that the shepherd, he's still working. And until next time, I'm Seneca, and this is Exhaled Hope. I'll see y'all at the next one.